Good evening, Allie. Thank you for coming on Sports Talk with C.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. How's your evening going?
I'm pretty good.
That's
Pretty
good.
Very relaxing.
So tell me a little bit about yourself and where you grew up.
My name is Allie Palmieri. Go by Allie. I'm from Trumbull, Connecticut. I grew up there my entire life, and now I attend Seton Hall University in New Jersey.
So I was reading a little bit about you, of course, and I did read that, you had, 2020 Gatorade Player of the Year. But before we get into all that good stuff, tell me about like the basketball culture when you was growing up.
Funny enough, I was the only one that played basketball in my entire family, like extended cousins, all that. It actually was because my grandma got me and my brother, a basketball hoop, and nobody was using it. So I was like, somebody has to put it to use. And then I just played local with my CYO teams, and then middle school, high school, and then obviously AAU, which was really beneficial for me.
So when you started, you said, the only person played in your family and you wanted to put the basketball in use. When was it like that you started to watch basketball? And when you did start watching basketball, who was it that you started to look at?
I would say probably around 6th, 7th grade. And I was a big UConn fan. I know I shouldn't say that now, but being a Connecticut kid, it was always UConn. And I love Breanna Stewart. And she's still my favorite player. I think she's best player in the world. So, yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay. So when you first started, what was your first AAU experience like? Explain that to us.
I actually played for Connecticut Premier.
Okay.
So that was a more local team. We did 2 tournaments that were with college coaches. And it was fun. We played with a bunch of people that are in college right now, one's at Northwestern, one's at Bethune-Cookman, a bunch of people. It was more local, and then we kind of branched out. But I thought it was very beneficial. The coaches kind of really instilled what kind of mindset we needed to have growing up. And it was only 8th grade. So I really appreciated it.
So what would you say, you talk about the mindset, what would you say would be one thing that you took from AAU then and that you currently use still now going into going to the Pirates coming in this upcoming season?
I would just say you have to work harder than everybody else. That's what they always instilled in us, is this practice obviously isn't enough. You always have to do stuff on your own. And that's something that I just always live by and continue to keep in the back of my mind.
Right. Speaking of mindset, it had to be some type of mindset to get 2020 Gatorade Player of the Year in the state of Connecticut, because there's so many ballers that come out of Connecticut, and basketball wise, the competition out there must be crazy. What was your mindset that year and to get that award, and how did you feel after, or was there any type of feeling when you received the award?
That was actually kind of a crazy experience because I had just transferred from public to prep.
Okay.
So it was in the NEPSAC, and the competition was great. So I just was really honestly blessed to be at a new school. My coach, Jen Harris, really believed in me and just kind of gave me freedom to really play my game, which is something that I really wanted and I didn't really have at my old school. So once I got that, it was kind of I needed to prove myself, prove that there was a reason I transferred. And my teammates were amazing. They kind of believed in me from the get-go. And once you have people that believe in you and continue to build your confidence up, it's just amazing the things you could do.
Okay. I always ask everyone that comes on, and because you got that award, you have to have, let's keep it 100. You got to have some type of basketball game to get, Gatorade Player of the Year. So if you, in that year, just that year alone, you, in one word, what would you say you would describe your game in one word?
Back then?
Yes.
I would just say energy.
Ooh. So you play with a lot of energy. See, I like that, because sometimes when your game doesn't fall, you just need that little bit of energy and everything will start coming into play. So I want to hear about your process in trying to pick the perfect school, because now this will be your second. And let's talk about it. How do you know, or how do you what is the best way someone picks a best school for them? What would you say is or advice you would give, I should say, for someone choosing the best school that fits them?
I would say the first thing going back is, do they need you or do they want you?
Okay.
Um, I think like I fell into the perception of like if they're like recruiting me, they're recruiting me really hard, like they have to need me, but it's really like they just want you to be like obviously you're gonna play, but it's probably not gonna be freshman year
Right.
or like early on. And that was something that I really did want. So that was something that looking back, I kind of wish I really investigated more and looked more into the team and who was my position, how old were they, how much experience did they have, things like that. And then I think you really need to know what kind of people they are, like get kind of close with the girls, get a little insight from them, and then like the rest is like, do they have your major, academics, all that kind of stuff? How far away from home is it? But I think that's kind of stuff you really worry about when you're first entering, like first
Right.
worrying about schools, so that way you can kind of like narrow it down.
Okay. And how would you say how important is a coach when choosing the type of school you want to go to?
Looking back, I think the coach is everything. That is like a big reason why I like it so much here is I feel like the coach, Coach B, really just makes you feel welcome. Like every day he gives you a hug, asks how you're doing. It just makes you feel like he values you as a person first instead of just a basketball player, like it's a business, even though it always is. It's like he makes you like really feel like you matter. So I feel like that part kind of goes unnoticed, but it really does make me feel like it was a good choice.
He is absolutely amazing. I met him at the Big East
Okay.
tournament, and it was like my first big media experience that I've ever encountered. And I never knew like my podcast would even bring me into that. And he made me feel like this big shot. And I didn't even know him. And he didn't judge me. He didn't take the fact that I had long nails. I went how I am in my J's. I wasn't changing who I
Yeah,
was.
right.
And he just made me feel like you could be who you are and still do a great job. So
Hmm.
the fact that you say that now about him, and I literally we've been friends on social media for about like a month and a half now, and you say the same thing about Coach Tony, it's absolutely amazing because it's really true about who he is as a person. And I
Exactly.
absolutely
Yeah.
love him. He's absolutely great. And I've met him like the whole entire weekend. I've interviewed him, and every time I've talked to him, he's been the same person. And I just wanted to share that story with you so you know, like,
It sounds
that
exactly like
it's
him.
the same. It's
Yeah.
you ain't being told no BS, girl.
Right.
He's the
Yeah.
same person all the time. So going to picking, Seton Hall, and what are some goals that you have for the season?
I'm actually just getting back from injury, but I just want to like obviously continue to prove myself and
Hmm.
hopefully I can be like a really big like contributor and everything. But I think as a team, I think being in the top three, top two at the Big East is definitely a goal. Being in that championship game, making a real big impact, making our presence felt in March Madness, and then honestly, just like proving our worth, putting ourselves on the map. I think is something that we're really trying to do.
Nice. So we're gonna, skirt back and
Mm.
speak about, because a lot of kids always get injuries and they don't know how to deal with them. So,
Mm.
you say you're just coming back from an injury and you still see pumped about getting back on the court and, still being that team player. What are some ways that you got into how you got back here? How did you get through your injury? And what is some advice can you give people going through an injury, or if they sustain an injury, how they can get through it and get back to where you are, and just, having that energy to get back on the court?
I think the biggest thing for me coming through this injury is that like you really can't control it.
Hmm.
So there's no point in like feeling down for yourself and feeling bad about it all the time. And I just every day it was something else I could do, whether it was watch practice, take form shots later on, start running on the underwater treadmill. Like it was something I could do. So I was trying to make the most of each step forward. And then obviously just like watching more film on my own at like scrimmages, trying to take in like a different perspective that
Hmm.
I wouldn't have if I was playing. So, because I think too much in the game when I like, even if you're just sitting on the bench, you kind of get too focused in and like, oh, where's the pass going, like things like that, and you don't really think about the little things that's getting to that point. So I think just engage, like making the most of the new perspective and just trying to relax. And other thing I realized is that my body probably needed the rest.
Mm-hmm.
So trying to just let my body heal naturally, not force anything was also big.
And when you're having the tough days, you have to push yourself. But when you're tired of pushing yourself, do you look to your team? Do you look to your family? Do you look to your friends? Or is it a collective between everyone?
For me, I'm really close with a few of the girls here, so I definitely look to them. I am super close with my mom, so I rely on her a lot. And then I think just like in general, the people here are really good, like from coaches to just the team in general, not just like people I'm super, super close with. Like everybody has your back, everybody's checking in on you. So it just like makes you feel like you're not really alone, which was big.
Yeah, I feel I don't play sports. I never played the sport of basketball, but I would say like just not being alone would be the biggest thing
Yeah.
for me to just like overcome an injury of wanting to not be alone during that injury. Cause
Yeah.
that's when
No,
you
100%.
like I think you would overthink, everything. And how would you deal with if you ever been in this position, coming back from either an injury, a small injury, a big injury, or just being able to switch, either being in starting position, coming off the bench, or just having to, go to the bench, coming from starting just for that game. How do you, what advice, I should say, do you give someone to that doesn't know how to do that for the bigger of the
Yeah,
team?
yeah. I would really just say like make the most of everything you have. Like if you could play, like there's people that can't play. So I would
Right.
kind of I like take that look as like at least you're there, you could play, you can really like make the most of it. And there's always a chance to prove yourself. So prove yourself like wherever you are in whatever stage you have.
And what is it that you would like to do in the future?
I'm actually like a major in sports psychology. So
Ooh.
I hopefully want to be like paired with the team and be able to like travel with them, help them with like all their like mental toughness, injuries, like things like that.
And if you couldn't compare someone now, your game, who would it be?
On the women's side,
Both. Let's make it spicy.
um, hmm. On the women's side, I'm trying to be like Kelsey Plum. I like her game, like just kind of like a
Ooh.
player, shooter,
Okay.
shooter, driver, kind of like slasher. And then men's side, I know he doesn't shoot that much, but like I like Devin Booker. He's one of my favorite players. So
Oh, I'm more of an inside girl. I hate shooting.
uh,
Oh, that's okay. I'm just because when it's like when you don't shoot and then it doesn't, but shoot
yeah.
is shoot. So they're only going to continuously to shoot. I just like the inside game. But Kelsey and Devin, I like it. I like it. Well, thank you, Allie, for coming on Sports Talk with C and coming to
Thanks
bless
for
me
having
with
me.
your. Of course, I can't wait to see you play. I told Coach Tony I will be coming down to, to come see him in the squad a game down in Jersey. So I definitely, hopefully, get to see you bless the court and see your game. And like I said, thanks for coming on Sports Talk with C. You have a good night.
Thank you. You have a good one too.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.